I guess it started.
We did.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely weather. Today we are going to talk about Ocean of Games. This is my compadre, Fred. Hi, Fred.
Hi, Amanda. How are you doing?
Fred's going to be helping me with comments and questions. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to present. I know that looks crazy. I'm sorry. Here we go. And the first thing I want you to do is if you could go to tinyurl.com/LPPS attendance and go ahead and fill out our attendance form, or you can scan the QR code that I stole from Fred. And I'll leave that up for a couple seconds. You can come back to it later and do it. You don't have to do it immediately. All right, so today we're going to be discussing Kahoot, Quizlet, and Quiz. Originally, I wanted to do Gimkit, but Gimkit is no longer free, and I don't want to present something that is going to charge you. The reason we use, or I should say, Kahoot, Quizlet, and Quizzes is there are some fun and engaging review games that could also be used as formative assessments. The first one we're going to do is Kahoot, and we're going to play a game. So I'm going to go my Kahoot, play, and I'm going to do this as a teach, which is a live game. If you are on a computer, you can press the Windows button and the left arrow, and it'll pull your presentation to the left, and then pull up Kahoot.it on the right-hand side. If another option would be to leave this up on one device and pull up your phone. If you have the Kahoot app, you can go to that. Either way, I'm going to be putting a code up for you to put in to play the game. Let's see who knows their 90s trivia. So when you use this with your students, you're going to have two options, classic and team mode. We're going to go with classic because we're on a one-to-one. And everybody's going to go to Kahoot.it, not Kahoot.com, or on the Kahoot app and put that PIN number in for me. Wait for some players. Deval, Nicole, Kayla. Ooh, I got some people now. And if you're looking at my screen, you'll notice that if, as a teacher, if I don't like what your name is, maybe you put a nickname that is not appropriate, I can easily just boot you out by clicking on your name. And it'll send you back and make you choose a different name.
Amanda, can you put the banner with the attendance link on, please? Some people are asking for it.
Yes. Okay, guys, I'm going to flip to something real quick, and it's going to look creaky. Just give me a second. There we go. I hope y'all are enjoying your 90s Mentos commercial while we wait. All right, I'm going to give y'all about 5 more seconds to get in. Otherwise, we're going to play with the 20 that we have. All right, last few seconds. I'm about to hit start. Start. Now on your device, you're going to see 4 colored boxes. You're going to look at my screen to determine the answer and then pick that color on your device. Which of the following is not an original Beanie Baby? Nobody answered? What happened there, Fred? Any idea?
I don't think so, man, right now.
Let's try the next one. So everybody needs to look at my screen that I'm sharing. The Spice Girls was a pop group made up of how many singers? Now I'm getting some answers. There is a timer running.
I think you may have fewer answers because the timing between.
The timing is off. Gotcha.
Yes.
Because of the YouTube Live. I apologize for that, guys. The answer was 5. What is the name of Will's wealthy uncle in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? All right. And it was the Uncle Phil. Teresa in the lead. This handheld digital pet was one of the most popular toy fads of the late 90s. Is it Tamagotchi or Webkins? It was Tamagotchi. Susan the lead. Tigers. Good Tigers. And the last question, which movie became the first to gross $1 billion at the box office in 1998? Was it Jurassic Park, Independence Day, Titanic, or Austin Powers? All right. So our third place winner is Deval. Our second place winner is Teresa. And our first place winner is Tigers. Now, if you were one of my students and we were doing this virtually, I would be sending you a Kahoot badge. So I'd get about a gold badge, a silver badge, and a bronze badge. And I would send that to them typically through Google Classroom. They think that's cool, but more importantly, they just want the bragging rights to say that they got it. All right. So what I want to discuss now is what Kahoot already has to offer, which is a library of prepared games that are editable for your needs. So you can edit any library game. You can also just assign a game that's been given. Let me let YouTube catch up. There we go. And you can access that through the Discover button in the top of Kahoot. Gonna let that catch up. There we go. Discover button. So if you click there, you can search for a topic. You can also browse through their collections. They do have some collections that are made by the Kahoot employees, as well as some that have been sent through teachers. All right, so if I were to search for something, let's say fractions, I would be able to look at, or filter, I should say, by subject, level. So there might be a fractions activity that's great for high school that's not for what I teach, which is 5th grade. Let it catch up. You can also use the duplicate button using the little snowman is what I like to call him. When you duplicate it, it'll go to your library, and then from there you can edit it and make it your own. Some other filters, you can filter by things that were just created by teachers. They do allow for student creations, but I don't know that I necessarily suggest those. So what we're going to do now is create a Kahoot. If you want to do this with me, great. If not, you can just watch and play along later. So I'm going to go to Kahoot.com. And you're going to see a white box that says create. All right, now I have some options here. I have regular, and then there are some templates. I'm going to just make one from scratch. When you do that, you have several options. You have a question bank over here on the left-hand side where you can type a question that you're looking for. So let's say I wanted to find a question on states of matter. And from here, I can pull from other Kahoots and choose one that might fit my needs. For example, this one looks pretty good. This one, how can you compress? States of matter are. So I'm going to simply add one. Obviously, I want to make sure the answer is correct before I do that. So you can pick questions that way and create your own off of there. And I can edit any of this as well. So if I don't like this answer choice, I can change that. Can also just simply add our own question. So I'm going to choose another question over here, and I'm going to start from scratch with this one. You do have some math options up here too, not too many, but you also have bold and italicized. So I'm going to put in a true-false question. Kahoot does not allow for open-ended. You have to have at least 2 answer choices. So my statement is going to be, all matter has mass. And I'm going to have true and false. So it's true. You'll notice when I did that, I also have the option to put images here instead of text, which is good for my littles. I have an option to change the time limits. I think that may have been the issue when we did this virtually with you, that YouTube was streaming 10 seconds faster, or slower, I should say, than the time limit set. You can change the point value. Everything will be single select because we don't have a premium account. You can also choose an image for your question. So if you go to the image library, I might choose Since this is a question on balance or mass, I should say, I might choose a balance scale. Let's see if they have any free ones. If you see this little picture in the corner, that's for paid. No, not seeing any frees. Let's try mass. Okay. Well, if that doesn't work, we can always just upload our own. So I can go to upload image and then search for an image on my computer that I want to use. I'm going to leave this alone. YouTube link. So if you find a YouTube, maybe this is a question. You want them to watch the video before they answer it, using almost a YouTube video as the question or as an intro. You can also adjust when you want the video to start and end. So if you only want a 30-second section of a 3-minute video, you're capable of doing that. All right. Lastly, you can import a spreadsheet. So if you have a list of questions on an Excel spreadsheet, you can import that and it'll make the test for you or the game for you. All right, go back to this. So when you're in Cahoots, you have your Cahoots, which are the ones that have been made by you. You should have also set up what school you were in, so you could have access to other people's Cahoots through your school. And then someone may just share one with you, and you would get an email telling you that that has happened, and those would go to the shared with me folder, basically, from other teachers. And when we have a Kahoot, you can play or edit. So if someone gives you one, you can play it or edit it. There are 2 ways to play. We did the live game, which can be done in class or during video conferencing like Zoom. And then we also had a self-paced game, which is what I used mostly during quarantine, where you set a due date for completion. You assign it, and it goes out to them to complete at their leisure. You are able to set time, I believe, but you can take that off as well. So if we chose the live or teach method of Kahoot, we would get a choice of classic or team mode. During this time, we'll probably go to a one-to-one device, classic. If you have some kids that you don't trust to come up or put their names in maturely, you can turn this on right here, friendly nickname generator, and it'll give them a nickname. I did have a couple issues with that. Once you go ahead and hit teach, you'll, just like we saw, you'll get directions for the students to go to kahoot.it, and then there will be a unique pin there for them to enter. If you're choosing assign, you would set a due date and a due time. You can turn on or off the question timer, and you can also turn on and off the nickname generator. You do have a player limit of 100 kids. When you choose assign, you'll be given the option to copy a URL and send that out via email or whatever way you choose, or you can auto-magically make an assignment in Google Classroom, clicking that button. As long as you are logged into your Google account, it will find Google Classroom and pull from that and allow you to choose the classes to send it out as an assignment. Same thing with Remind. So if you do not use Google Classroom, but you are using Remind, or you want to use both, you can automatically send a message out through Remind, and it'll tell them the exact code and even a link to click on to get to that game. Another cool feature is you can combine Cahoots. So let's say I wanted to use this Kahoot and this Kahoot for some reason to do a review. I can click on these two and then hit combine, and that would make one combined game that could be sent out to play as well. That would be great for review. So if you had one on, let's say, addition and subtraction of unlike, and then multiplication and division of fractions, you can combine those and make a whole unit review of that. So what do the reports look like from Kahoot? You can report by student, class, or by question. And we'll look at that right here. Let me go to my reports for the last game we just did. All right, do we have any questions?
Not so far, no.
Okay, great. If you do have a question, just put it in the comments section and we'll get to it. So I'm going to go to our reports. And these are some games that we played. I'm going to go ahead and open this one. And when I see the report, the initial thing is going to be the summary. It's going to tell me percentage that got it correct, how many players, how long the game took. It'll even tell me what the difficult questions were from my Kahoot. So those might be things that I want to make sure I spend more time in class after review to address. You can also create a new Kahoot with difficult questions. These people needed help, so I could use that information to pull a small group to review. I can also see information by players, how many they got correct, how many were unanswered in their final score, how many need help, how many didn't finish.
Amanda, somebody asked if you can put the sign in address again.
If I can what? I'm sorry.
If you can list sign in address again.
List the sign and address. The sign in, this for attendance. Is that what they're referring to?
It's right down the bottom of the screen.
Is it still on the banner?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe that person can clarify that question. You can also pull up a report by question and see what percentage they got it correct or wrong.
Jessica is asking if once the assignment due date has passed, if you can extend it.
Oh, if you can extend it. I do not believe so. I think once it's in, it's in. So you may want to take that into account. During quarantine, I set a week time, and it automatically stopped them at that point and wouldn't allow them to go in and complete the assignment anymore. So just be mindful about that. I do not think that you can, but it is something to explore, and we can look into that. And feedback is if you want to give feedback about the Kahoot. You can also print a report. So this was our summary. How many needed help, didn't finish? How many were incorrect? So for example, for this one, I could tell how many were incorrect or correct for that specific question. If you go to the reports options, which is the little snowman, you can download a report, print a report, or delete the report if you're done with it. If you download it, it'll look like this on the bottom of my screen, where it'll tell you overall performance and then final scores and answers per player. I can also share a Kahoot with other teachers. We talked about where to find those Kahoots that were shared with you, but you can share out. Sharing is caring. On your Kahoot, if you ever see this button, you can click on that and send an email to another teacher with the link for them to get the Kahoot, and then they could add that to their library. Here's another sharing option. If you were on the Kahoots page, you could do that as well. If you need any help with Kahoot, you can go to Guides and Resources for Schools, which would be found in the library at the little information button next to your login name, which should be in the top right corner of Kahoot. Do we have any last minute questions about Kahoot before we move on? No? Okay, great. I'm going to close that. The next one is Quizlet. Quizlet is awesome because there is a team mode with live games. So if we ever get to work together in teams again, they could work in teams to do a game, and they would have to run around the room basically to talk to each other to make sure that they have they're on the same page when it comes to the game. Another cool thing about Quizlet is it allows you to do diagrams and maps. So if you want them to label a diagram or a map, it is not race oriented. I know we talked about them running around the room, but it's not on a time. You can set a time, but you don't have to. It promotes practice and mastery. It has some regular multiple choice, but also some Jeopardy style answers too. So instead of saying what is 2 plus 3, you could say 5 is, and they would have to say what is 2 plus 3. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's see if this game works out better than the Kahoot one. So I have a trivia game here, and I'm going to play it live. I'm going to create this game. Notice you have the choice of teams or individuals. Since we are not here together, I'm going to pick individuals. And then I have a choice of regular multiple choice or Jeopardy style multiple choice. I'm going to go with this one just because I'm going to be easy on y'all. And sure, let's do some music. You do have to have 2 or more players. If y'all could go to Quizlet.live and enter this code, or if you have the Quizlet app, you can put in this QR code. All right, I got Courtney, Rhett. This is not 90s trivia, so don't be intimidated. Unless you're old like me. All right, let me give y'all about 10 more seconds to get in. If you want to get in, you can.
I just want to remember to people who are watching us that we are about 15 seconds ahead of them.
15 seconds, gotcha. I'm not sure what timer I may have placed on the questions for this, so we're going to find out. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I just hit create game. Notice I do have a join code over here in my QR code, so I can always leave that up if I'm waiting for a couple more people to get in, and I'm going to hit start. You have been placed in groups, so I hope that y'all know that. So even though it is individual mode, you are playing as a group with multiple people across different devices. How cool is that? And I don't have to display anything on my computer for you. You simply see the questions on your screen and answer those as you go. Go Bison. Ooh. And this will basically play out until the timer has run out for the quiz. What you should be noticing is that you may have received questions over again that you did not get correct the first time. So that's where that mastery comes in and practice. Congratulations to Megan. I'm going to continue to click on that. Thank you. What we learned was that the total height of Niagara Falls is this, and we were initially confused with these questions. So how cool is that to see that information? And it also gives us an idea of what, as a class, we need to study, because those were some confusing questions. All right. So that was fun. Other than the live game, which is awesome, your students also have the accessibility to learn, have flashcards, write, spell, take a test, do a match, or do a gravity game. Oops, I'm sorry. These things on the bottom, these options down here, let's see if I can close that. No. Let's hide that. Nope, sorry guys. These options down here help them with learning. So this is their practice, this is their study, and the match and gravity options for them would be something that they choose from. It's not necessarily something you choose for them. And they're able to play those timed with a group leaderboard. The live game is something that you would do in class or via Zoom. You can create a class in Quizlet. And what that's going to enable them to do is you can send out assignments with the sets. And when I say sets, think of flashcards, think of digital flashcards that you can send out to the kids. They can play games with those cards. They can just study the cards, or you can do a live game with them as well. I would definitely make sure that you have this option unchecked where it says allow your students to add study sets and new members. I don't trust my kids to do that. You can create a class with Google Classroom. So you click this button and it would allow you to connect to your Google Classroom. Again, make sure you're logged into your Google account when you do that. Or you can create a class through a link instead of going through Google Classroom. Students would be able to sign up for access through their Google account or through email. And then you would have to grant permission for them to access. So they would put this class code in, you would pull it up on your end and say, yes, that's little Johnny, I'm going to allow him access. There is a library, and it's a pretty solid library of Quizlets. When you're searching that library, please make sure you hit free. And the only set that you really have, or the only type that you really have, are sets. The study guides are not free. I'm sorry. When you find a game that someone else has made in the library, you have the option to play it live right then and there if you vetted it and you thought it was good. You could also save it to your folder and then edit or assign it later. If you choose to play it immediately live from someone else's set, you're not going to get scores that way. That's the only problem. If you save it and assign it later, then you'll be able to get the scores from that game. And just like with Kahoot, you could import your questions. And this way they also have it with Word, not just Excel, but also Google Docs and some other methods as well. So that's pretty cool. When you go to create a new study set, you would see that option after you hit create. So one of the neat things, like I said, about Quizlet is that you can have them label a diagram or a map. Here I had put in a picture of an animal cell. And I can use this hand to hover over it, and I can add points on my diagram that even correlate to the questions. So I could blur out nuclear envelope, put a point there, and then have flashcards for nuclear envelope with the word nuclear envelope and then the definition of that point. So they would have to identify it and then define it as well. That's pretty amazing. You can create vocabulary sets for students to study and play with. If you don't finish, it's okay. It drafts automatically save. There's no save button. It just does it for you. What I did want to go in was to show you what a map might look like. So if you wanted to use this for a diagram or a map, so I had a map of the United States, and it brought me straight to the draft of that. It's auto-saved. And I went ahead and uploaded a photo. It has to be something on your computer. You can't search for it. I uploaded a photo of the United States, or part of it. I am missing Alaska. And I went ahead and put a point here using this button. And the students will have to click that to reach my terms down here. So I use this for capitals for states, Louisiana, and the definition in this term would just be Baton Rouge as the capital. I did want to show you what blurring looked like. You use this little pencil up here. I could blur out, oops. I could blur out Mexico. Yes, I want to save that change. Notice it's not there anymore. And I can go ahead and add a point there. I know this is for the map of the United States, but I could do that as well. And add the term Mexico. Oops. You go to add a definition. This might be my capital. When I go to start typing that in, add that. And now I have 2. I could add another card, doesn't have to be related to the map. So this might be Texas. Now, notice what happened. As soon as I started typing in Austin, it picked up on that, and now I can just click this and have it finish. You also have the option to add some images to that. So if I wanted to put a picture of Austin here as a clue, or a picture of Texas, I could do that as well. And then hit create. It's saving it. So that's how you would create. And you could get to your Quizlets from clicking on the Quizlet. Oh, there's my option to share it. Notice I can share via email, or I can copy a link and send it out. I can share it through Google Classroom and share it on Remind as well. If you go to Quizlet in the top left corner, waiting for that. There we go. After you have logged in, and again, this is free, and it's unlimited sets that you can have. Here will be all of your Quizlets that you made, and you can click on those to assign them or to do a live game. Any questions, Fred? All right, cool beans. Please don't forget to hit create at the top when you're done making that set. Otherwise, it'll just auto save and it won't be assignable until you do that. And like we just discussed, there are options for you to share the set out. Now that's going to be sharing the set, not the game. When we played the game, there was a different code. When we share a set, we're basically handing the kids the index cards, which is like your flashcards. You're handing that to them, and they can do those different modes with it. They can do the learn, the spelling, all of those different options we talked about. Some more options. If you find the snowman that looks like this, you can see your top scores right here. Print as a PDF or printable flashcards. That's nice for your kids. And just like Kahoot, you can combine games together, or in this case, sets. If you have a website or blog, you're able to embed that in there as well. So students, just like you, joined a live game. You would click on live, project that to the class like I did. They would enter the game code and start the game. One wrong answer will send the students all the way back to the start, as I'm sure some of y'all may have noticed. And this is what y'all had, this code or the QR, if they're going to go through the app. Quizlet Live used to just be for teams within the classroom, and they went ahead and added it remotely for individual mode. So that helps engage students. Here are some information that you can receive if you need any help with Quizlets. And that'll be, actually, if you look in the description for YouTube, you'll find this document. So you can click on it and get to that. All right, so the last thing I need to quickly go through is quizzes. And the reason I like this is because it's memes, it's power-ups, and it also has a math equation builder in there for my math people. We are gonna play a game. I think we have enough time. That we can show you the information afterwards. I'm gonna apologize now if we run over. Fred, is that okay with you? So we might be a little bit over.
No problem.
All right, once I find my game that I'm gonna send out, you can play live. You can assign it as homework, or you can send it as solo practice, which is also pretty cool. We're gonna do play live. And I have different options here. Team, classic is which I'm gonna go. It's not a race, you can answer at your own pace. There's a time limit on the game itself, but not the questions. And then test would be if you were given a lot of time individually to answer it. I'm gonna continue. And I need you to go to joinmyquiz.com and enter that game code. While I'm waiting on some people, some ideas for rewards for Quizlet is I went ahead and attached in the document some badges that you could hand out virtually or in class as a sticker for those who have won the game for Quizlet. Quizzes does not really have any badges to hand out. My suggestion is to maybe think about allowing the winner to send you a meme that they want to use in the next game. And that meme could be set up through your account. So you would vet it, obviously, and make sure it's approvable or appropriate. And then you could use that meme set that was created by the students. That would be pretty cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm sorry if you didn't get in, but I'm on a time crunch. On my end, I'm just going to see the leaderboard with the questions, and on your end, you're going to see the questions. And while you're playing, I want you to notice if any power-ups happen. If they tell you that, that's pretty cool. And if you get an answer correct or wrong, what those memes look like. Sorry for that everyone over.
Right, don't worry about it.
There's so much information.
It's very interesting.
No, we're going over a little. I'm sorry. All right. Are you playing? If you ever want to put your head up and just look at my screen too, you'll see what the teacher is seeing during that game. So I'm seeing the accuracy of the class. The green is how many we're getting correct. The red is how many, or the percentage that we're getting incorrect. And I can also see that data live by question. How long is it taking y'all to answer these? How many people are getting it correct? How many people are getting it incorrect? If you get an answer incorrect, you may get a redemption question where you can answer that question again to try to redeem yourself. That's pretty cool. That works for or helps with mastery and practice. All right. I see that some of y'all are playing, but because of time constraints, I'm going to end this game. Sorry. And I see my first, second, and third place winners. And then I also get some game highlights, class accuracy, toughest question, the longest question. And then I can see this beautiful spreadsheet basically of what everybody's answers were. You can do it by student or by question. You have the option in quizzes to add email addresses for parents. So you could even email this out to parents to let them know how their child did on it. It's pretty neat. Okay. So you can invite students to join either with a code through Google Classroom. So you can get a link and then share that out, or you can just share the link directly to them via email or Remind. They are not required to log into quizzes. They can use a code from the teacher. If students are added to classes using Google Classroom, they will receive direct links to the quizzes assignments, which is beneficial. So it's nice that they don't have to log in, but you may want to consider making them just so that they have access or direct links to the accesses for the assignments. If they're not logged in, they won't be able to save their progress for future assignments. So that's the big downfall. Under Create, when you're in here, you'll see the meme section. That's where I told you you could add or create your own meme set. The quizzes library is made of a lot of pre-made quizzes. You can obviously edit them. You can add and view your classes here, and then you can also create folders made by subject or grade level. So let's create a one-question game. So I'm going to go create. And let's do subtract like fractions. I'm picking my relevant class for that. You have different options here: multiple choice, checkbox, which would be multiple select, fill in the blank, a poll, which obviously is not going to be graded, and then an open-ended, which you would have to go in later and grade. I'm going to do this as checkbox. I'm going to write my question here. Notice my math fans, you've got a math equation right here. So I could click on that. And now I have fractions. So let's do 1/2 minus, I'll just keep it easy for right now, 1/2. Search. Look at how pretty. And then I could add my answer choices. You have to have at least 2 for checkbox. This is a multiple choice question, so I'm just going to leave it as let's put this here. Okay. And if I decide that I want to change this to multiple choice, all of a sudden I can click right here and check and pick. I'm going to go with checkbox and choose that these 2 are correct. Over here is what the student sees, just so that kind of gives you a nice preview of what you're about to send out. You can set an allotted time. I'm going to hit save. You can add a quiz image, kind of like Kahoot. You can also add images to your questions. You can edit this at any time. They do ask that you have at least 4 questions. This teleport button is pretty cool up here. So this is kind of like Quizlet, where you're allowed to pick questions from other people's sets. So I might pick this question right here and simply hit add. And it's going to go to the quiz I just made. So now I have my question and I have this other person's question. There are 3 options like I discussed. There's Play Live, which is a real-time quiz. And that works also with kids that are working remotely. Just press start when all the students have joined, and they can play it at any time as long as it's still active. So you can send that out to put it up, and it'll be active for a few hours. So if you need to assign it on Google Classroom, if they got to it within the next few hours, they could play along with the class from home. Students are not required to join. Teachers would see the live dashboard like I was showing y'all while you were playing. And here's that dashboard. If you want to assign it as homework, it's an assigned game. That would be ideal when students are not available to take the quiz at that same time. You can choose a deadline for up to a month. You can also view real-time progress and reports. And the last one is practice, where they play on their own as often as they want. So that would be nice to sign up or assign through Google Classroom as well. The report is not sent to me. The code does not expire. They can challenge their friends to play against each other. And I can even have accessibility for maybe my students with IEP or IAP to have read aloud or the timer turned off. And I could send that out through Google Classroom, Remind, or Teams. Some other game settings would be redemption question, playing music, and showing memes. And you have choices of memes to choose from down there in the gameplay settings. Your reports look like this. You can download and edit, and you can delete. And if you go ahead and download, it'll look like an Excel spreadsheet like that. Here's the link for the Help Center for quizzes. And I've also included a comparison of each. So if you're like, I don't know which one I want to use, here's a comparison of what each does for you. Again, Gimkit, no longer free, sorry. If you are interested, you can go to the website and play it. It's a really cool game, but I'm not paying $120 or $5 a month or whatever they wanted for it. They do have a pro trial account for 30 days. Something else you might want to check into is flippity.net. So thank you so much for joining me. And I ask that you complete my survey at tinyurl.com/LPPS Tech Week. And here is the QR code. I'm going to put that up on the banner. You can also reach me through Twitter at this Twitter handle right down here.
I added the survey link in the comment area.
I'm sorry?
I added the survey link in the comment area.
Okay, thank you. All right. I know this looks freaky for a second. I'm sorry. Oops. Show. Nope, that's the wrong one. I'm going to get it. There we go. If you have any questions, you're free to ask away. I'll be here for the next few minutes. If not, then thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful weathery day. And I hope you enjoy your coffee and your pajamas.
And we may also want to add that your presentation is saved and will be available on YouTube in this address.
Yes, the document will be up on the website, but if you're on YouTube, if you go in the description, you have a direct link to it right there. Good question. going to stop sharing that. And I'd like to thank my friend Fred for helping me today.
I learned a lot.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred. All right. Not seeing any other questions, Fred, are you? I'm going to go ahead and end broadcast.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.